I still remember my first night at university more clearly than any other night that year. Not because it was exciting, but because it was the first sign that something was very, very wrong with the person I'd be sharing a room with. I had just moved into my dorm, unpacked everything, set up my desk, made my bed. My family left around sunset, and I was alone for maybe an hour before my roommate finally arrived. His name was Dale. The moment he walked in, I felt something inside me tighten. He didn't make eye contact. He didn't smile. He didn't even introduce himself. I stood up, walked over, and said, "Hey, I'm Dan." He just stared at my hand like he didn't understand what a handshake was. Then barely touched it with the limpest, coldest handshake I've ever felt. There was this long, uncomfortable silence. I tried making small talk. "What major are you? You from around here?" He just said yes or no with these strange pauses. And sometimes he'd laugh quietly for no reason at all. Within minutes, we were both sitting on our beds, laptops open, pretending to be busy so we wouldn't have to talk. That night, I knew I didn't want to stay with him long term. But I had no idea how bad it would actually get. Around 9:30, with nothing better to do, I went to bed. I remember hearing Dale typing on his laptop for hours. Every few minutes there'd be this long pause, followed by a soft giggle. It was close to 3 a.m. when he finally shut his laptop. I fell asleep almost instantly. But not for long. I woke up to moonlight glowing across the room. The blinds were now wide open. I was positive I had closed them earlier. Still half asleep, I looked across the room. And froze. Dale was sitting upright on the edge of his bed, leaning slightly forward, staring directly at me. I jolted upright and whispered, "Dale, what the hell are you doing?" His answer was a whisper so soft and shaky that it barely sounded human. "Sorry." Then he slowly lowered himself back into bed. I barely slept after that. The next morning, he was gone, first time I'd seen the room empty. For a moment I felt relieved. Later that day, during campus orientation, I overheard two students laughing about some weird kid rubbing a tree in the garden. When I looked over, it was Dale, sitting in the dirt behind some bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree with both hands like he was trying to memorize the texture. When I told the two students he was my roommate, they literally apologized. That night, when I got back to the dorm, Dale was sitting at the desk facing the door. He didn't move when I entered. He just stared at me until I awkwardly said, "Hey." He didn't answer. I sat on my bed, opened my laptop, and instantly noticed something off. All my email folders were opened. Private messages I hadn't touched were marked red. Assignments folders were opened. My browser history cleared. I asked him, "Dale, did you go through my laptop?" His answer came before I even finished the question. "No." Loud, sharp, defensive. A blatant lie. But at this point, I didn't want a confrontation. The school had already approved my request for a room change, and I'd be moving the next day. So I forced myself to ignore everything. That night, I got into bed, turned off the lamp, and tried to sleep. Then I heard it. A zipper. Slow, careful, deliberate. I turned on the lamp, and there he was, crouched on the floor, going through my backpack. When he saw me looking, he froze. Then, with the fakest voice imaginable, he said, "I think you took my toothbrush." It was such a stupid lie that I didn't even answer. I just went back to bed and pretended to sleep while he sat silently in the dark for the next hour. The next day, I moved to my new room. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 3 nights later, for the third time that week, I woke up to a strange sound. A soft clicking. It wasn't inside the room. It was coming from the door. I sat up slowly. My roommate was asleep. The clicking continued, Metal shifting, tiny movements. Like someone was slowly turning our doorknob. My heart dropped. I got up and walked quietly to the door. The peephole showed the top of someone's head. The person was standing right outside, looking downward. And now that I was close, I could hear it better. The clicking was the sound of something inside the lock. Someone was trying to pick it. I whispered, "Dude, wake up." He sat up, confused, and whispered, "What is that?" I didn't answer. I dialed campus police with shaking hands. They arrived unbelievably fast, maybe 4 minutes. They told us to stay inside until they knocked. When they finally did knock, I opened the door. And they already had Dale in handcuffs. He had followed me to my new dorm. He had apparently memorized my schedule. He had somehow found my room. And he was trying to get inside at 3 a.m. When they searched him, he had a small pocket knife, a pair of latex gloves, and a folded list of names with mine crossed halfway out. I don't know what that meant. I don't think I want to know. I never saw Dale again. He either got expelled or sent somewhere else, but he vanished from campus. Still, every now and then, when I wake up at night and stare at my door, I swear I can still hear that soft, patient clicking, like someone trying to let themselves in.